There's a super interesting article that many of you sent me about who is likely to live longer from today, Joe Biden or Donald Trump, bearing in mind that Joe Biden is older than Donald Trump. This question relates to so much of the discussion around fitness for office, Trump's glitches, Joe Biden looking unstable and frail and sometimes falling, and all of it. And one of the things that sometimes is genuinely difficult to talk about is while we don't ever know exactly when someone's going to die, there is an entire industry called actuaries that are paid to calculate when are you likely to die on average statistically. And one of the questions, of course, is age. Someone who's 80 today is more likely to die sooner than someone who is 10 today, all else being equal. But it also takes into consideration lifestyle factors. It takes into consideration underlying illness. It takes into consideration diet and weight and so many other things. And there's a very interesting new article on the Messenger. Which president is healthier? Data show Biden will likely outlive Trump. I don't really care about this from a gossipy perspective. What's interesting about this is that there are so many on the right who have started to insist Joe Biden's never going to survive a second term. Now, when you look at the actuarial data and you consider the facts about Trump and Biden, what actuarial data finds is that from today, it is likely that Joe Biden will live longer than Donald Trump. Despite only a 3-year age gap between Biden and Trump, recent polling shows voters treating the two men's age differently. This we know. The article is quite interesting. I encourage you to check it out. Biden has disclosed he takes prescription drugs to treat common conditions, including allergies, high cholesterol, and gastroesophageal reflux. Polls show that voters are not treating the slim difference in age the same way. Washington Post ABC News poll found that 32% of voters think Biden has the mental sharpness it takes to be president, compared to 54% for Trump. Yet, and this is where it gets interesting, available medical information suggests the two men are more similar health-wise than different. A recent report published in 2020 by the International Council on Active Aging found that while both Biden and Trump have a higher than average probability of surviving another term in office, Biden's probability is 95% versus Trump at 90%. The report attributes this to Biden's nearly perfect health profile for a man his age. It also found that while both Biden and Trump are likely to be part of a subgroup known as superagers, those who maintain mental and physical functioning and live longer than the average person at their age, Biden is expected to outlive Trump. The report represents the first time medical records and personal attributes of presidential candidates have been scientifically analyzed by scientists and physicians. It draws in part on annual medical disclosures released by both men during times at the White House. So this really is interesting. You're comparing the health of Biden and Trump. And what this finds essentially is that there's a lot of commonalities here, but there are some important differences, including Trump's obesity and diet. This is a very, very big deal. When you look at lifestyle factors, Trump is obese and Joe Biden is not. And this is something that has a significant impact on life expectancy. They're both older folks. Biden is 80 and Trump's a couple years shy of 80. But Biden is quite thin and is active, rides a bike, goes to the beach, etc. Yes, Trump golfs. He rides a golf cart between shots and is very overweight, in fact, obese, according to BMI, which is not a perfect indicator, but at least it gives us an idea. That's a major difference between the two, which affects life expectancy. And so my interest in this is less about another Trump's fat story, which are really not very interesting. But there is an incorrect assumption that statistically, it's more likely Trump will live until January of 2029, the end of the next term, than it is that Joe Biden will live until January 2029. Statistically, while they are both likely to survive, it is actually more likely that Joe Biden does. Now, is this a reason to vote one way or the other? Not for me. If either died in office, I would be more worried about what Trump would do while alive than what Biden would do while alive. And I would be more worried about what Trump's vice president would do if they became president if Trump died than my concern about what Biden's vice president, presumably Kamala Harris, would do as president if Joe Biden were to die. So there's the facts. And then there's also the fact that regardless, I'd still vote for Biden over Trump if those were the options. People in my audience trying to quit smoking or vaping, this is for you. You can't vape or smoke inside. You're tired of people seeing you put those little pouches in your lip. There is a nicotine alternative that people won't notice to help you quit. Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Our sponsor Zippix makes the only nicotine toothpick on the planet that is FDA registered. You can use it anywhere, work, restaurants, airplanes, sporting events, after a meal. The toothpicks stay in a convenient little tube that goes in your pocket or on your keychain. It's way more convenient than carrying around a huge can of pouches all day or a whole bunch of gum or whatever the case may be. Zippix nicotine toothpicks come in flavors like peppermint watermelon, sweet wood, cinnamon, whiskey. If you're not a nicotine user, try out their B12 toothpicks with caffeine instead, a quick and easy alternative to coffee. Do your lungs a favor, cut the cigarette smoke, cut the vape juice. Quitting has never been easier with Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Go to zippix.com, get 10% off with the code PACMAN10 at checkout. The link is down below.